Ignatius.
Are we on somebody's page?
Yeah, mine.
Okay. You want to record too?
See, it ain't popped up yet.
You can just probably take it from his page. Can you just post it to the chat too? Your page that we're going live for?
Oh, okay. Well, I can't because I'm using my phone.
Well, after.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, because it needs to go on GMS Dallas Live to the actual.
Okay.
We have a credential. I don't even know a credential.
I got it on my phone. So I can put it up.
Okay.
Yeah, we live.
Okay, obviously I make it do it on mine. All right, well, Shalom.
Shalom.
I'd like to give all praise, glory, and honor to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash.
double honors to the Apostle of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to Yakin, pushing his word in truth and sincerity. All right, we're back in another Saturday class. We're going to go into the book of Job. You know, the first chapter. It's going to be on the second chapter. And we're going to go into how we have to be like Job and going into having that integrity. Especially when you come into this truth, we have to keep your integrity. You know, we build up as coming in as newborn babes in this truth. You know, when we first start off, and it's a start of a new life, a new way of moving about the ways of life. You know, having that integrity as you walk through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. All right, and we could definitely jump right into it.
You got that definition?
Yeah, let me get that definition.
This is the definition of that word integrity just on the Google search. It says the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness.
All right, strong moral principles, moral uprightness. Okay, and as we walk, we have to walk uprightly, right? Now, when we go into start on the book of Job, we'll get that him being a upright man. All right, and integrity, like I said, going into being becoming whole again. You know, when you start off, you start off with that desire of new milk, and you build up and you become whole. All right, Job basically he had fulfilled his life with all type of riches. You know what I'm saying? And the Lord gave him that adversity. And did he break down? Did his principles, his moral principles, did it break down? No, he still believed in the Lord. He was still walking as an upright man. All right. Matter of fact, let's get that.
Second definition.
Yeah.
Yeah. The second definition, it says the state of being whole and undivided.
Not wavering, undivided. You know what I'm saying? No breaking down. All right. Not walking timid through the spirit of the Lord. Having faith. You know, when it comes down to it, that's what it is. Having that strong belief, that faith. All right?
Yeah, pretty simple. Since he said divided, James 1 and 8, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. All right? So when you have a double-minded man, he don't have that faith in the Lord. He basically is double-minded. He's hopscotching, jumping back and forth. Should I do this? So a double-minded man is bringing forth a gray area. He's not balanced.
Yeah.
You know?
The Lord's not looking for a wishy-washy spirit.
Right.
You know, having one foot in the truth and then one foot in the world. You know, shit happens and you revert back to the old man. But when things going good, you the top Israelite, you know, on the planet. You know, all the precepts. But when adversity comes, you have to humble yourself and take lessons. You revert back to the world. That's not what the Most High is looking for. You'll be unstable like that. You want to be steady in the time of trouble.
Right.
When things really hit the fan, you know.
Right. The scriptures also say, meddle not with them that are given in the change. Like basically not having a consistent character.
Right.
Like not any stability pretty much. You, like you said, wishy-washy. Whatever situation of adversity, it may pull you one way or another. You're not like rooted, basically. You know?
Right? I mean, Colossians 2, you know, around the 7th verse, it says rooted and built up in them. All right? You got to stay grounded in this thing. All right? If you're not deep in your roots and deeply grounded, deeply in the ground, you know what I'm saying? You know, if you get some adversity hit you, like you say, that's like water hitting something that ain't deeply rooted. It can get washed away. You know?
It's Matthew 5 and 48. And this Yahweh speaking. He says, "Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect." And when you go into that word perfect, it means complete. You know, it's a synonym for being having integrity, being whole. So it just as Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua is complete and whole, right? That's how he's calling us. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go into that reading now about our forefather Job. We know he had that integrity. He was righteous and a man that he was whole. He had that integrity. We can get the brother to start on that.
Job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Start at the top, verse chapter 1.
Come.
This is Job, the first chapter, starting at the top. It says, there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared Yahweh Shem Yahushai.
All right. And I would say he was, and we finish what? Uz. If you look on the map, it was like you had like Israel, below south of Israel, you had what Edom, and kind of in the bottom, like below that a little bit to your east, it was Uz. So he was around, like you say, in a land where it was probably most likely surrounded by heathens. That's why you have some some Jake try to say, oh, he was basically wasn't a Jake, from the tribe of, he wasn't from from the nation of Israel, but he was. I mean, just because he sojourned there, that was his land, there where he was living, doesn't mean that he wasn't, Israelite.
Yeah, because even our forefather Abraham, his beginning with his family with Terah, they were in Ur of Chaldees, just surrounded by heathens. They wasn't in the promised land,
Right.
So that shows the legacy of our people. We were always a nomadic people.
That's right.
Mostly dwelling among the damn heathens, man.
Yeah, in the ancient world, the land you dwell, that's normally what they called you after, So a lot of people say that Job was an Edomite, but nah, we know what Edom represents. It represents the wicked of the scriptures.
That's right.
The actual wicked. So he couldn't have been an Edomite. Just like you have like Simon the Canaanite, which was one of the 12 apostles that was sent. But that don't make sense if Yahweh said, don't go only go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, but then he let a guy named Simon the Canaanite come into the camp and send him out. Like, which is it?
Right.
So you just called out to the land where you dwelt in. That doesn't determine your actual lineage, back in the ancient world.
Exactly.
And what heathen is considered upright.
Right.
That's right.
Just like when it goes into talking about Cornelius, it says he was the devout. Just an example, like certain characteristics the Lord ain't gonna attach to no heathen, man.
Exactly.
That's right.
Man, we'll get that word up right.
I got a quick one for you if you want.
Yeah.
It'll go right into that word upright. This is Deuteronomy 32:15. But Jeshurun, or Yasharon in the Hebrew, waxed fat and kicked. Thou art waxen fat, thou art grown thick, thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook the Most High, which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. I pulled that scripture to, to go into that title or that name, Jeshurun, which pretty much that's Israel, when we're in our right mind. You go into that word Jeshurun or Yasharon, it means upright.
That's right.
Just as Job was.
God, I got you. This is Strong's H3477, Yashar, and it means straight, upright, correct, right, pleasing, correct. Then it says upright, righteous, and it says upright.
Yeah. So you notice that was the man of the Lord. It wasn't no Edomite. All right. Job was an upright man, and we know the Lord. And we get Psalm 7 around the 10th verse, and also Genesis 6 and 9. Like I say, he was an upright man. He was a just man, right? That's meaning basically he was a man out of the nation of Israel.
I got that Psalm 7. This is Psalm 7 and verse 10. My defense is of the Most High, which saveth the upright in heart.
All right. He saved the upright at heart. He don't save no damn heathens. All right. So that lets you know that, despite the land he was in, he was basically upright in the man of the Lord. He was of the nation of Israel. Right. And somebody got that Genesis 6 and 9. And this is just a representation here, like I say, of men that walk with the Lord, like we knew Enoch walked with the Lord, And now we're going to go to the account of Noah.
God, this is the book of Genesis chapter 6, verse 9. These are the generations of Noah Noah was a just man.
A just man, an upright man. All right, Yashar. You know, go ahead.
And perfect in his generations.
Mm-hmm.
And Noah walked with the Heavenly Father.
Okay, so the upright men, the Yashar men, they walk with the Lord. All right, and who are upright men are we? What are the Lord that He said He was going to save? All right, and that's going like we just read in Psalm 7. All right. And who are the upright men? Men that fear the Lord. All right. Proverbs 9. You know, the fear of the Lord. Let's get that. Proverbs 9 around the 10th verse. You got to have that fear of the Lord to basically walk in the righteous path. If you don't have the fear of the Lord, then you'll be bound to be what? Be devoured by Satan. We'll get that as well.
God, I got you. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 9, and verse 10. It says, matter of fact, verse 9. It says, give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning.
Mm-hmm.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And watch that. That's you receive instruction. All right. When you receive the instruction, you learn how to walk this righteous path. All right. If you have the fear of the Lord, you're going to basically walk the righteous path, walk the path to the best of your ability. All right. And it's like you say, Enoch. All right. Noah. Okay. You even had, like you say, going into Job. They were upright men. They were righteous men. All right. And like I say, it's no damn heathen that's going to be walking in a righteous path. All right. Because what is the path for? The nation of Israel. Now in these days, it's for the elect. So, but these stories that we read, like with Job, Enoch, and Moses, all these stories that we read is basically giving us instructions on how to walk. And who was one of the main, who walked perfectly upon the earth? Yahweh Shai. So that is, like I say, though, he gave us guidance. You know, instructions is something that's going to guide you. All right?
That's a little bit more.
Mm.
And it reads, and knowledge of the holy is understanding.
Holy. All right? Separate. Okay, so when we made whole, basically we're being separate from the world. You know what I'm saying? Because like you say, the world is basically, as we mentioned earlier, wishy-washy. They want to, it's do as thou will. You can't have one foot in the world and one foot, you know, in this truth. All right? That's an unbalanced man. And that leads towards what? Destruction.
That's what a hypocrite is, because when you go into the word hypocrite, what that mean? An actor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You're not standing on what you truly believe in. You know, most of the people within this world, they may say certain things, but they actions and their behavior don't embody it. Like, most people don't have a backbone. They may appear to stand for something, but when adversity or something that they disagree with, they ain't gonna be with it.
Right.
You know, like Jake trying to be so-called woke in certain movements. But when we in through the Spirit of the Lord, we're standing sure through that foundation of faith, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So, not acting, like we're whole. Just that going into the word integrity, just to bring it all full circle, you know?
That's right.
And there's no amount of threatening or, you know, that Esau could bring to us to make us fold on his truth. Like your example, you got the guy with, you got Ice Cube, you got all these celebrities that mentioned that they were Israelites, right?
Man,
But then when they're threatened, I hate that I was brought into that Drink Champs thing.
Kendrick Lamar,
You see what I'm saying?
what
So
happened to him?
these are men that are hypocrites,
Yeah.
which is why they're not to be, you know, leaders amongst Israel.
Exactly. To be a leader amongst Israel, as we mentioned, you got to have that integrity, like Job and the rest of our forefathers.
I got this for you right there. That's the spirit you said that.
Come.
This is the book of James, chapter 5, verse 10. And it says, take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience.
Ooh.
Behold, we count them happy which endure.
Mm-hmm.
Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and you got it, you know what I'm saying? Just reading it for you. You have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord. And the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy.
Yeah. So, like I say, we've seen, all right, and how did we see? We read the scriptures. We know that they walked the certain path they walked, all right, the certain adversity they had to go through. You know what I'm saying? These things that they went through were things that, like I say, for our learning, all right, for our learning. So when we start going to the scripture, start reading what's going on with our forefathers, we know that these are the instructions we learn. When something happened to us, what do? We look in the scripture and how do we basically come over, basically overcome what we're dealing with. All right, we overcome by walking in the ways of the Lord, believing, having faith, knowing that the Lord's gonna get us through. Now, do we just say the Lord's gonna deal with this and we just sit down and just wait? No. It may be some action we have to take, but basically we gotta step forward, believing that the Lord and have faith that the Lord is gonna guide us and get us to where we need to be.
That's right. Hey, just to add, I'm gonna make this as concise as possible too. That goes into the name Yahweh. Once you believe He is, that's enough of a driving force to allow you to press forward, no matter what you're going through. That's why our fathers, the prophets, the apostles, started with Yahweh Shai. They're the key example because they believe in the Father. It ain't just by the name, because there's a lot of guys that are out there that will say Yahweh, but it comes to really understanding His true image, His true deity. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that He is, and He is rewarded to them that diligently seek Him, as the scriptures say.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Get back.
Back Job 1.
Mm-hmm.
This is Job chapter 1, and I'll start at verse 2. It says, "And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great household. So that this man was the greatest of all the men of the East."
Yeah, he was great. He had, when you have cattle back in, even these times, you have cattle now, and all these different, like you say, 3,000 camels, yokes, and oxen, and asses, all this, that was a lot of substance. And definitely back then, that was, basically, he was a wealthy man, like I said, of all the East. Now, I tried to pull up some things showing, like, what would that be worth, based off that. It may be wrong, but it said it was like in today's time it would have been like $60 billion, and I was like, damn, you got to think he was the man of all the East. That was a lot. Shit.
He had it.
So you got to think he didn't have just this substance and you had like 5 acres. No, he had to have all type of servants,
Right.
things like that. He had basically a small city.
You can't really put a quantitative value on that type of substance anyway, because he had actual assets.
Yep.
Yeah.
Livestock,
Mm-hmm.
land. So you're gonna be rich forever.
Yep.
So for him to have, when you think about it, for him to have all those resources, that means the people in that region, they needed. He was a part of the economy.
Yeah.
Of course.
Like that means food and resources probably kind of came out of his property and stuff like that.
Mhm.
People relied on Job and his resources
Yeah.
to live. So that's big.
Yeah, probably.
Clothing,
Little markets. Yep.
milk, land. You gotta think probably he probably leases land to other people who need to use his land. So he had man, Job had residual income. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
We
Probably
gonna
can
get all
trade
that
too,
back.
like certain things that he don't grow on his land from other people.
Yep.
He don't gotta spend his own money, so he can just like, I'll give you this sheep for this. Bartering.
Yeah, barters.
Mhm.
Yup.
And
What the scriptures say, He was the greatest
The
of
greatest
all
of the
men
East.
of them in the East.
it had to be that
Oh,
big.
Yeah.
Quite a statue.
Damn. Yeah.
This is verse 4. It says, "And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them."
Yeah, of their day, And like you say, when we reference that to what, like having their birthdays, and they grew up on this wealth, so they was like probably some spoiled ass brats,
Yeah.
won't nothing. All they did was party, So when you look towards that, you like, look at someone that's been having everything, and then like I say, what they don't have no worries or anything, But Job, like I said, with that integrity, being an upright man, he had to basically try to, and we're gonna get into it, basically pray for them, because they was, they didn't have no fear of the Lord.
When you look at most wealthy kids, even in our time, right?
Mm-hmm.
What their parents did to get to that point, they had a lot of character building. They had to have integrity. They had to do certain things and have certain conduct to get to that position. It's never passed down to these kids. They're oblivious to how the real world works.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see Job's, you can look at Job's kids being in that, same station.
That's right.
Entitled.
Yeah.
Look how T.I. son at.
That's what I was thinking about when I was saying that. I didn't want to say his name, but him.
Yeah, that makes me think of this quote, if I can bring it out. I know brothers know this one.
Yeah. Strong man make easy
Yeah,
time.
it says hard times create strong men create good times, which Job created good times for his inheritance, his offspring rather.
Mhm.
It says good times create weak men.
Yeah.
You see, it's just like what y'all going into, and weak men create hard times. So.
Yeah.
Weak men, weak minded, you know. But like I said, when you don't have a care in the world, you get to a point where it's not worth nothing to you. Matter of fact, Joe Rogan, I was listening to his podcast the other day, and he was saying where when he moved into, started getting money, moved into, got his first, I guess, TV role. And he said, you know, he got this nice big ass loft and things like that. He was like, man, you would walk in every day like, man, I got a big, nice house, you know. And through time, he just walked in, it was just a regular house, you know. He didn't have no want, he didn't have no worries. He got to a point, he was like, he just understood. Now he understand that now, as long as you got something to eat, a place over your head, you know, a roof over your head, you know, you'll be all good, you know. When you have substance, you don't, and you grew up in it, like I said, you don't have no care, you know.
They got the saying, possessions possess you.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference between Job, right, and all these people that get possessed by their wealth. The man in Matthew, the rich man, the Lord, Yahweh told, hey, sell everything and follow me. Job would have been in the spirit to follow the Lord.
Right.
Think about how
He would've
think about
gave
how
you
many
everything.
you probably can name on your hand how many rich men would actually give it all away
Right.
to walk after righteousness.
Mhm.
That's the mentality we should take on. So seeing that Job had all these things,
Yeah.
he still had his priorities straight, which was righteousness.
Yeah. Moral principles.
I got something real quick. It's based upon, because, the scripture says in the book of Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, it says that wine and women make men of understanding to err.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So when you come up in particular riches, or if you come up in a particular way with no discipline, it made me think about the parable of the prodigal son. Right? So this is Luke chapter 15, verse 11. It says, and he said, a certain man had 2 sons. And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. Which, as a son, you would get the inheritance. The firstborn would get the greater portion, and then after would get a particular piece, but it may not necessarily be as large as the firstborn's inheritance, right? It says, and he divided unto them his living. And here's the point, verse 13, it says, verse 13 and 14. You can break it down. It says, not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living.
Hey, he gathered everything, and like I said, he went somewhere, and what did he went and enjoyed himself.
Yep.
Partying, just spending everything, and what did he end up with?
It says in verse 14, and when he had spent all,
Mm-hmm.
there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want.
See? You know what I'm saying? He'll use up all his oil. And now he in want. He could have, he could have saved his thing. He basically could have took his time.
Invested.
Invested. Basically trade, receive something, you give something, receive. He was just all partying and giving. And then when he was all used up, then the Lord brought out that famine.
I was on that.
Come on. We'll get back to it.
Right, this is Job chapter 1 verse 5. It says, and it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually.
All right, so Job constantly sacrificed and prayed for himself and his children. Because he knew they basically, if you want to put point blank, he knew they wasn't shit. Like you mentioned to T.I., he probably know his son ain't shit because he just a spoiled little brat. But Job had to constantly pray over him and his kids. Because like you say, Job, as being a righteous man, he didn't go around and celebrate his day. But what they were doing. If that was someone that he wasn't an upright man, he would have probably been in there with them. Like they say today, it's for the kids. These holidays for the kids, and we gonna do it for them. No, Job, he's like, no, I'm gonna stay away from that. I'm gonna pray for you.
That's how it works sometimes. You might have to, your household might be saved through you. Because certain families, the father, for example, may be in the truth, but children, the wife, they might not necessarily be full-fledged. But as long as the wife is pleased, the Lord will save them. Like Noah.
Yep.
It don't really talk about if Noah's sons was out there prophesying with Noah, helping build the ark.
Exactly.
But they got saved. So the same thing, because Noah was probably praying over his family, you know.
That's right.
Other brothers may pray for family members as well. That shows ain't nothing wrong with praying for your family that may not necessarily be in this thing.
Absolutely.
You know, as long as they not too far astray, they ain't just being disrespectful, you know. But that's how the Lord works, you know.
That's how it work.
Through one man just doing the right thing, you can cover your whole family, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And Job had that understanding.
If I can add, also that kind of gives a glimpse into how the father of the household is in a way a mediator, you know, for the family.
He's a high priest of the house.
Because like in Genesis 25, it talked about how Sarah went through Isaac, basically to entreat the Lord. You know what I mean? So just giving a glimpse into that chain of command. You know, 1 Corinthians 11th chapter. You know what I mean? So I just thought that was interesting. Right?
Yeah.
He was a priest.
Priest.
Because it doesn't tell you in the book of Job what time period this was in. It doesn't tell you if this was before the flood or it doesn't even mention Job's tribe.
Yeah. Well, it was after the flood. There's scriptures in Job that goes into the snow that falls down. You know what I'm saying? So it was, but I see what you're saying, insinuating.
Yeah.
Really nobody played that role.
Yeah, like
Just for the camera's sake, though.
Yeah, like how long after the flood or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You know, so yeah, it goes to show you that he was a priest. You know, and all of us, as men, as the scripture says, it says that thou shalt be a nation and a kingdom of priests.
That's right.
Verse 6. This is Job 1:6. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
Hey, and this can also you can use to say, when they say Satan, saying the devil is in the ground, or what I'm saying, and fire and everything. Right? Why was he in heaven? You know what I'm saying? He didn't say I came from hell to go into the earth and go back to hell. No, he said came through and go from it, coming basically from the heavens down to the earth, going back up to and fro. So it's something that you can use also just to show that it's the devil is not in hell.
Show the order how things actually work.
That's right.
Dispel out the Catholic lies that they made up.
And I think we get 1 Peter.
I got it.
Come.
5 and 8.
Yeah.
Come. This is 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8.
You can start at 6.
Come, that's a bit. 1 Peter 5 and 6. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of the Most High, that he may exalt you in due time.
Mm-hmm. So when you go through, like saying, walking the righteous path and, having faith and believing in the Lord, when you humble yourself, what are we believing? We believe that we're storing our treasures up in heaven. What is that in Matthew 6?
Yep.
We're storing our treasures up in heaven for what? In due time, we're going to receive that reward.
Yeah.
Because Yahweh Shai said, what, that reward is going to be with him. Right. We have that faith and believe. That's what we're waiting for, that due time for that to happen.
That's right. Verse 7. Casting all your care upon him, for he cared for you.
All the care. So like I say, when you get to a point, if you have your highs and lows, our cares, we say, hey, we're going to put it to the Lord. Like Job did with his family,
Yeah.
They wasn't righteous, but like I say, through him, they could have been saved, possibly, so he was like, what? I'm going to pray for him. I'm going to sacrifice for him,
Verse 8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.
Yeah. And the devil, he's going to throw things in your face. He's going to tempt you with certain things, That's why you got to be vigilant. And we can get that word vigilant. I think we got that last night as well. That's being what? You got to be focused. All right.
Yeah, just to add, if I may, when you go into this, because he's using the analogy as a lion for a reason. Mm-hmm. When a lion stalks his prey, he can stalk his prey for a while. He'll crouch in the bushes. His main objective is to catch his prey when the prey isn't expecting him as much. Mm-hmm. And we're going to the example of Job here. He was had a mass amount of substance, all these different things, but it got to the point where Satan crept in and got him right then and there when he was at the height of all his substance. So looking at all of our walk as you're going into just the diligence and keeping that integrity, Yo, Satan can come when you're very comfortable, not really expecting him. And these are the conditions of the battle as well. This is warfare.
Right.
You know, that's why you got to always have your mind on guard. And when things do come into fruition, meaning the bad is what I'm talking about, got to have that in the back of your mind that it's part of the journey. But we got Job, as you're going into, as an example, to keep the integrity and keep the faith, as of all the other prophets that we have in the scriptures.
That's right.
As an example.
Right.
You know.
When you read the book of James, it says remember pretty much the patience of Job. When you go, you know, in James the 5th chapter, it mentions Job. You know, it says when you pretty much going through things, remember how Job was being patient. You know, he didn't lose his integrity. He didn't curse the Lord out. Seeing Job was going through hell. Like, I'm talking about having boils on your body.
Yeah.
He just didn't have one boil on his body. He had boils all over his body. All his you know what I'm saying? What you gonna go into it, but you know he was catching hell.
Every facet of his life was under attack. When you gonna read Job 2 and 10, I don't want to.
I will. Yeah, we'll get there. I mean,
Okay.
You got something else you brought
I
up?
wanted to read it real quick because
I'm
Job
gonna
made
get to probably
Okay, yeah,
2
go
and
ahead.
9. So you can go. I would probably stop around the 9th verse of chapter 2. So you can read.
Okay, so this is Job 2. I'll start at 9. It says, then said, this is after the second affliction that came. It says, then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? You know, after he was going through the affliction, it says, curse Yahweh and die. And that's just another point to show you that the woman ain't in the fight with us.
Right.
But we ain't gonna get on her. Verse 10. But he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of Yahweh? And shall we not receive evil? So Job understood that life ain't supposed to be all peaches and candy.
Right.
You're gonna go through affliction. And through that affliction, you gotta understand, like it says in Philippians the 4th chapter, how to be abased and how to be abound.
That's right.
All right. So this is something. This is the most precious mindset that we can have. We need this mindset to survive, because we're all gonna be tested. We're all gonna be abased. Things are gonna be taken away. People that things are gonna be tested and pushed, especially in the times to come. So this is a heavy lesson, stepping into what's getting ready to happen. You know what I mean?
Cause you got to think right now we're like I said, we're still comfortable. We ain't really in the thick of things yet. You know, we can get up, go to work, we can go get something to eat whenever we want.
Right.
You know, it's all these things. Go home, got bed, sleep in. We're good actually. You know, but like I said, cut on the heat. You know what I'm saying? So, but what is this going into? We're basically spiritually prepping for bad times.
That's right.
You know, that's why when Job, even though he had all the substance, he kept his integrity. He didn't get too comfortable. Like I said, he could have left, like I say, his kids do what they want. He could have still had his riches and didn't think that I'm gonna sacrifice, I'm gonna give homage to the Lord. He could have just been going about his life.
It's like that parable in Luke 12 where the Lord made a parable about the rich man who had all the riches, and he was like, you know what, I'm gonna tear down my barns, but I'm gonna build greater. And I'm gonna take my ease, I'm gonna eat, drink, and be merry, I'm gonna chill. And then here it is, the Lord said, you didn't even know that your soul is required this night. So, the sacrifices, our sacrifice that we make to Yahweh and our shine, our daily actions, because you can go, you can read, you can go to camp, on camera, but, you gotta always remember that the main camera that's on you is the angels.
Yep.
Watching your every move and the spiritual sacrifices that you're making on in your daily life. That's what Yahweh Shem Al Shah is looking for is the scripture says that a sacrifice that's pleasing to the Lord is a broken heart and a contrite spirit. How you move with what the resources that the Lord gave you, how are you using those resources to glorify Him at the end of the day?
That's right. You'll get that
Vigilant?
word. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
If we get Luke 22, 31.
Actually, I got it right here for you.
Let's get vigilant, and then we can jump into that.
Okay, so this is the word vigilant in the Greek, which is Gregoruo, which is where you get the word Gregory from. I looked that up. It means to be watchful, right? Or Greg, which that word says metaphorically to watch, give strict attention to, be cautious, active. So to watch means that to watch doesn't mean that you're just sitting on your ass and just sitting there just watch. To watch is an active thing that you for you to watch something, it's an action. So when you're paying attention, you're actively doing something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It says to take heed, at least through remissness. Let me get this definition of remissness for you. You can.
And we're saying watchman, like I say, when you're a watchman and you up there on the tower, you don't just look one way and just be like Focus
Sitting
like
there.
no, you gotta look around, look over here.
Tent.
Yeah.
Listening.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna take a nap.
Yeah.
On the watchtower, yeah.
You gotta constantly keep your head on the swivel, being circumspect.
Mhm.
You
Kind of
know?
like when you're watching a toddler and they in the house and they start walking and you were watching them because anything they could do, they could hurt themselves.
Mhm.
So you're very intent. You're watching. You're paying attention.
Ready to try to grab them real
Yeah,
quick.
you ready.
Yeah.
You know
Stick
what I
the
mean?
finger in the socket or something. Just, you know,
Anything.
yeah,
So you're just like you're
yeah.
ready. You're like I know this motherfucker doing something. You know?
Yeah. If I can add, they actually call that, like, when it comes to like child care, they call it active supervision.
Look at you. Yeah, he does
Yeah.
So like, you know, like just sitting somewhere and just posting up and watching is not active supervision.
Right.
You know what I mean? You could actually get in trouble for that. You have to actually go and, you know, get in the mix. You know, you have to be moving around. You got to be, you know, being able to discern, you know, what people are talking about. You know, it's
Yeah.
more than just, you know, watching, so to speak. You
Sitting
know?
down watching Murray.
Right.
Jerry
Yeah.
Springer while the baby
Right.
running.
I'm gonna watch a movie real
I'm
quick.
watching, yeah, I'm watching. You know, I'm over here watching
He
Murray.
got a fork in the socket.
That remind me of what faith without works is dead. You can't say I just got faith and then go to sleep every day and
Yeah, I'm
don't
watching.
watching this. I'm good. You know, I mean, you got to be active. You know.
It literally says it.
Yeah.
To be vigilant means to watch, give attention, be cautious, but to be cautious means you're actively looking for something.
Mm-hmm.
You see? So it says to take heed, to take heed least through remissness, which I got the definition of remissness for you. It says lacking care or attention to duty,
Okay.
negligent.
Being
Right.
lazy, just don't give a damn.
Yep.
You know, lacking care. You know, you don't want a watchman to be lazy and lack care. Like you said, he may be up there taking naps and shit. Next thing you know, your enemy crept about. Next thing you know, they right inside your door.
Yeah.
You know.
So it says to take heed least through remissness and indolence, and that definition of indolence says laziness. It says avoidance of activity or exertion.
See? And just like when we go on highways and byways, you know, we're being tentative, we're being active, you know, we're not being lazy, you know, we ain't just saying, you know, well, we good, we can just stay up in here. No, we're supposed to spread the word throughout, you know, through on the highways and byways. We're being active with what we know, you know.
Yeah, with everything, you pay attention to the spirits on the people at work.
Yeah.
If certain things are happening on the world stage, you pay attention to how people are reacting to it, and that gives you fuel for like, oh, okay, well the scriptures say this will be happening, and people will be in this mind state, and so everything that we're experiencing throughout we're never on autopilot.
Right.
We're always taking in everything and filtering it through the spirit. You know, always being attentive. We're not negligent parents.
Yep.
Use that word negligent. You know.
It's like if you walking down the street, you know what I'm saying, and you see some bullshit going on down like on the other side of the street. You being diligent and you being vigilant, you like, you know what, I'm not gonna go over there. Like when you read in Job, the first chapter, I'm pretty sure I already read it, but it said that he was a man that eschewed evil.
Mm-hmm.
Which means to eschew something means to shun it.
Yeah.
You know, you move it up, you get out the way of it. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, already the BS is gonna come along with it. So it says to take heed leads through remissness and indolence, which is like laziness, right? Inactivity, you know, not giving diligence, right? Some destructive calamity suddenly overtake one.
Destructive calamity overtakes you. All right. So basically, you're being circumspect, but something won't just pop up and happen to you all of a sudden. All right. You take heed to what's going on, so nothing won't surprise you.
All right, Luke chapter 22, verse 31. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat.
Yeah, he's trying to sift them. Because what is Satan doing? He's going around the earth seeking who he may devour. All right? And that's one, like I say, when you basically are in the spirit, the devil will come at you 10 times harder.
But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren.
And like I say, when you feel like things are down, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to reach out to your brothers, strengthen one another. All right? It says with 2 or 3 amongst you in my paraphrasing in my name, it's believe the Lord is in the midst of us. All right? So we use brothers to build up. So you can't just be you be out and You may have some brothers do it. They be up there saying, I'm just do my own thing, you know. But the thing is, the devil can sift you. Like you say, he's like a lion. He can basically, he's waiting for you right at the right moment when you're not even expecting it. And he can throw something at you and basically catch you. And then before you know it, it's too late. You're like, man, I've been devoured. You know, you say, I'm going to read tomorrow. You know, next thing you know, next week I'm going to read this day, that day. And you keep putting off, next thing you know, you basically became what? A double-minded man. You're back in the world.
Oh, a little bit by little bit.
Right, 5th chapter.
That's right. Yeah, let me jump back
This
to
is
Job.
Job chapter 1, verse 7. It says, And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil?
Mm-hmm. And the one that fears God eschews evil. All right. And you know, when you look at it, the Lord had what? He had what you would say a hedge around him. We get Psalms 84 and 11. Can you read that again, Dr. Shaw?
Job 1 and 7, it says, And the Lord said unto Satan, Whence comest thou? Oh, it's like verse 8. It said, And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil.
Mm-hmm. And like we just mentioned, he escheweth evil, right? He shunned it. You know, that's why, like I said, he didn't want to go and celebrate the celebrations with his children. He shunned it because he know, like I said, they were celebrating their day was basically against the ways of the Lord. All right. So he the one that, like you mentioned earlier, he shunned evil. All right. He feared the Lord. And we keep going. Read
Verse 9.
Yeah.
It says, Then Satan answered the Lord and said, Doth Job fear God for naught? Has not thou made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land.
Yeah, like you said, the Lord had a covering over him. We can get Psalms
84. If I can say too, that shows that the Most High also controls Satan.
Yeah.
It wasn't no spiritual tug of war going down into heaven, and then Satan had the fall from grace, you know, like them fairy tales that the Christians push.
With his fist up like this.
He had to present himself to the Lord, Satan.
Right.
That shows he's a messenger of the Most High. You know?
And Christians like to put up and like Satan is basically just like equal with
like they
with
equal,
Yahweh.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like they battling one another. Like he's basically serving them, but on the left hand side.
Exactly.
You know, that's why, like you just mentioned, he asked him, hey, well, I can't do nothing to him because you got him covered.
Exactly.
You know, what can I do for him, Lord? You know, he was like, now would he complain and would he cuss if I take you take that away from him? Because the Lord got that covering over.
Mm-hmm. I got a precept for you.
Huh, let's get this.
Psalms 84 and 11.
Mm-hmm.
It reads, For the Lord, Yahweh, is a sun and shield.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord will give grace and glory. No good thing will he withhold from them that walk uprightly.
Yes. So the ones that walk uprightly, the righteous, he's a shield over to them. All right. He's a defender. Right. So when you're basically walking in the righteous path, the Lord covers you. He keeps things from happening. Like you said, he could stop you finna go out the door and say, damn, I left my keys. You know, he had an angel making you go back and you get your keys and then you driving down the road and it's a wreck just happened.
Yeah, that you missed.
You know.
Can I back what we just read up? It's Psalms 34:9. It says, "Oh, fear the Lord, ye his saints."
Start at verse 7, Bible
Okay.
Shah.
Verse 7. Psalms 34:7. The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him, and delivereth them.
Yeah, count them
Right.
out.
Yeah,
That's why we don't have no fear when we're on the highways and byways. Because we're counted about and we're presenting count. We don't have fear. I remember what was it, 3 years ago when that Edomite had that gun.
Oh,
you know, did that stop you? No, you just think he was going hard. You didn't even. I think you didn't even see the gun he had.
Oh yeah, I
You know?
didn't even see it. Like I didn't even see him cock it. Yeah.
That's a display of faith too, because most people they get nervous about shit like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't even cross our minds. We're just like, what can he? In my mind, I'm like, these people can't do nothing to us unless the
You're
Lord.
not them.
He ended up getting arrested.
Yeah, unless the Lord okays it.
Right.
It's something you know.
Yep. Fear not them that can kill the body. We
Yeah.
fear the Heavenly Father.
That's right.
It ain't nothing gonna happen that the Most High didn't ordain to happen.
Right.
Exactly. Once you get that in your mind, that gives you a renewed sense of confidence.
Confidence, yeah.
You know, in the spirit, which confidence is with faith. You know,
Yeah. But Proverbs 20:24.
like you don't think that like nobody can harm you. No weapons formed.
These
You
people
know,
prosper.
You know, if you walking uprightly towards the Lord, He gonna make sure you know that you good. Man's goings of the Lord anyway.
That's right.
I got a precept too.
We can definitely deal with conflict.
Going into exactly what we're talking about, Sirach chapter 18, I'll start at the top of the point is in verse 3. It says, he that liveth forever created all things in general. Right? Talking about, Yahweh Shem Shai. It says, the Lord only is righteous, and there is none other but he. Verse 3, who governeth the world with the palm of his hand, and all things obey his will. For he is the king of all, and by his power dividing holy things among them from profane.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Just going into what we're talking about in just in general and in Job specifically. You know what I mean? Not only did he create Satan, but Satan obeys his will to a T.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But,
That trumps all that BS.
Yeah.
Can I finish this real quick?
Yeah.
It's verse 8, Psalm 34:8. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him. Oh, fear the Lord, ye his saints, Israelites. For there is no want to them that fear him. And that goes directly up with Psalm 34:11.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
This is Romans chapter 13, verse 1. It says, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of the Most High. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High. So that's talking about Satan, things that come in our life that tempt us or try us. It was ordained by the Most High.
That's right.
At the top ladder of it, that's why we was going into Satan ain't controlling himself. Okay, he ain't have a tug of war like the brother said. The Most High ordained anything that happened on this physical plane.
Well, it shows all. We get Sirach 11. Somebody hold that. You can continue on that.
Can I get a precept for you real quick? Because we was talking about the hedge. I want to pull this real quick. This is in Job chapter 29. I'm gonna read verse 1 through 6. I'll read it fast for you. It says, moreover, Job continued his parable and said, oh, that I were as in the months past, as in the days when the Most High preserved me, when his candle shined upon my head, and when by his light I walked through darkness, as I was in the days of my youth, when the secret of the Most High was upon my tabernacle, when the Almighty was yet with me, when my children were about me, when I washed my steps with butter, and the rock poured me out rivers of oil.
Yeah, this is the time right here he's going in when he was being preserved, when the Lord had the hedge upon him.
Yeah.
So like you say, right now he got a hedge about him. Because basically he's a righteous man, he's upright, so the Lord is with him. He's been walking with the Lord, right?
Verse 7 says, when I went out to the gate through the city, when I prepared my seat in the street, proving that he was a prophet, right. He was preaching, he was a leader, he was in the chief seat in the gate. Right? It says the young men saw me and hid themselves, and the aged arose and stood up. The princes refrained talking and laid their hand on their mouth. The nobles held their peace, and their tongue cleaved to the roof of their mouth. When they heard me, then it blessed me, and when the eyes saw me, it gave witness to me.
Hey, he said the nobleman basically held. So he was, let you know that he was a man of substance. You had all these men that were out there listening to him. You had other rich men that was listening to him. All right, because
Job was high
very high up. That's right. Like I say, he had the noblemen listening to him. So you had other rich men, but they probably was under Job. They probably, like say, Job probably, and we just going by how he said the substance of things, what it would be today. You can just kind of put it like say he has a city. You may have someone have their business right here and their business there, but it's basically on his land. Yep. So when he spoke, everybody listened.
He probably was an advisor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He had all types of occupations, just because the spirit was that heavy on him,
Yep. He had like city council, like you had particular people that's within the city council, but you have the chief, I forgot the name, but like within the city council, you have the person that sits in the chief seat that pretty much, like you hear everybody else's claim, but pretty much it falls on you at the end of the day. It's probably with him, probably with Joe. I'm just, speculating, but speaking as a man, that was in my precinct.
Job. This is Job chapter 1.
You want to Sirach 11, right?
Yeah, let's we're gonna read what we on?
We're at verse 11.
We'll read 12 and then we'll jump to 12.
Okay, Job 1 and 11. It says, "But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power."
Yeah. Hey, and when you look at all what he's basically saying is, if you take this away from him, he's gonna curse you. He's gonna complain. You know, he's gonna lose faith. You know, during the time of Egypt. You know, reading Numbers 11. What did? They basically start murmuring, complaining, things like that. So, and what did they say? We want to go back to Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Job, he's saying basically, if you basically let them loose and take these shields away that we just read about, he'll curse you.
And that's what Esau trying to do with his agenda by making the resources short. Make you make that choice, like, hey, you don't take this, you're not gonna have these things. You're not gonna have the food. You're not gonna be able to have access to society, how it functions. He's putting that same snare before the believers.
Yeah. And that's going into what? The Lord controlling all. And that's what Satan was saying. If you allow it, and you allow him to lose everything, or basically take stuff from him, basically he'll lose faith. So that's letting you know that the Lord controls the left hand and the right hand.
Both sides.
So
we're all like little Jobs. You know, how you consider the elect.
Hey, Elder Yazak did a lesson some years ago. He said, "Hast thou considered my servant?" Like it says, "Hast thou considered my servant Job?" He said, in his lesson, he says, "Hast thou considered my servant?" And put your name there.
Yeah. Woo. Because our integrity is about to be heavily tested.
Right.
Especially with the what, when that decision is put before us. That's going to be an act of integrity to make the right decision in that moment, Just like Job had to do when, he was brought to that lower state. He didn't forsake the Lord,
Will he keep his moral principles, or will he lose his mind?
All the accounts of the man standing boldly are that. Joseph, when he was sold by his own brothers in the captivity, he didn't forsake the Lord. All these different examples of us standing uprightly, man, in the face of affliction.
That's right. Let's get Sirach 11, around 14.
Come. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 11, verse 14. And it reads, "Prosperity and adversity, life and death, poverty and riches come of the Lord."
So anything, like you say, you see a man that's on the highways that's homeless, you see a man of wealth. Hey, the Lord has allowed both things to happen. It didn't happen, and then the Lord said, "What happened?" And he's like, "Dang, who did this?" No, the Lord, He knows all things. It's a counsel up in the heavens. It's like when He asked who's gonna basically put Ahab to death in Ramoth Gilead. He had a council, and He had them giving them different counsel of what they would do. And He said, "Okay, I choose you. Go do what you said." Because the angel told him what he would do to kill him. So the Lord, He controls that. Now people say that's wrong. Like you say, well, did that make the Lord unrighteous? Yahweh forbid it.
Got one more. Did you want more on that?
You on verse 15?
That was verse 14.
You can read verse 15.
Okay, verse 15. "Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the law of the Lord, love and the way of good works are from Him."
Yeah. So everything, and when you receive this wisdom and knowledge and understanding, like you say, that's like going into Isaiah 33 and around the 6th verse. And then what is the fear of the Lord? That's all His treasure. He follows, He believes, and He put a shield around men that believes in Him, have faith in Him. Right. Who's actively seeking, the Lord. You got another?
Yeah. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 14. "In the day of prosperity be joyful, but in the day of adversity consider. The Most High also had set the one over against the other, to the end that man should find nothing after him." So that's just going into the balance of everything. When you got your joyful moments, case in point, Job being rich and such, the bad is going to come with it.
Right.
And that's even what Job said, should not the Lord give good and not the evil? And at the end of the day, when he was going through everything, he still said, "Blessed be the Lord." That's the mindset that we all got to have. because Satan gonna come swinging with that windmill. You know what I'm saying? Like that street fight, he gonna land a lot of them, man. But hey, that's part of the battle.
That's right.
You know. Yeah. That's it on that precept, bro.
Yeah, that's just like you say. You quoted what happened in you read it earlier, Job 2 around the 10th verse. Yeah, and then with his wife, you know, she don't have no wisdom. You can read that. We read that last night at camp. What was it? Numbers 39. I mean,
Job 39.
Job 39.
Yeah, 39:17.
39:17. Yeah, we went into that. You know, the woman was deprived from the wisdom. You know, that's why he had to tell her. That's why the man is the head of the household.
They say ever learning, never coming to the understanding of the truth.
That's right. That's right. And when you read, because I read that in Ecclesiastes 7, when you look at Solomon and that, why he wrote that letter, he's pretty much he was rich. He's a king. You know, we all know Solomon's substance. But when you go into that book, he's pretty much just giving a breakdown on his experience as being a wealthy man, as he was going through the highs and as he was going through his lows and he was tripping. You know, he was pretty much saying at the end of the day, both sides come from the Lord. And that's something that we all got to constantly understand, especially the more you prolong within this walk. You understand it more and more. You understand it at one moment, but later on down the line, you understand a whole nother heavier portion of that. But it's all sent by the Lord for your growth and your development. That's right. And that was a heavy trial the Lord put Job through for his growth and his development. You know, so the Lord can take you there. He can take you through the gauntlet and through that ringer, you know, just to see if you're going to still call on him.
That's right.
And that's what Satan is used for. You got it, brother.
Yeah, precepts. We can get back to that.
It's Job 13:15. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. But I will maintain my own ways before him. And just as, you know, the option we're just going into, man, hey, you know, this hour of temptation that we all come up on. You know, it's going to feel like the Lord is literally slaying us, man. Like, we're going to feel his heavy hand. You know, but at the end of the day, we got to have the same mindset that Job had, Yahweh Shah had. All of our righteous forefathers, we're going to maintain our own ways. Meaning, maintain that integrity, that wholeness, that completeness, because that's what ultimately is being tested. When we read that First Peter, the first chapter, around the 7th verse, he says, we're paraphrasing, trying your faith, which is precious as gold. Right. You know, what's ultimately being tried is your integrity. You know, but that's backed by your faith. And that's what the Lord is, you know, pulling out of all the elect in these times.
What was you just reading?
That was 13 and 15. 13 and 15. Okay.
Can I get that word maintain for you real quick? In that verse? That word is yakach. Right? Yakach. Which that word maintain says show to be right. Prove. You see? So that what he said, I will maintain my integrity. He said, even though the Lord gonna slay me, I'm gonna prove my integrity to him regardless. You see, and that's the same mindset that we gotta have in the hour of temptation. You know, in the time where our faith is gonna, because each and every last one of us are gonna have our hour of temptation. Yahweh Shai had his hour, where he was, you know, he prayed to the Lord 3 times for that cup to be passed away from him, and he had to go through that on his own. You see, so, you know, however the Lord has it for each and every last one of our walks, we gotta have it to where, look, even though it may seem that the Lord is gonna slay you, like for example, 2 Maccabees 7, the brothers, you know, like they went through they got tortured. They still maintain their integrity at the end of the day, understanding the end goal. Like we was reading at camp yesterday, it said with Yahweh Shai, he said that pretty much he had the joy that was set before him. He endured the cross. So each and every last one of us, we all got to bear our own cross, but we got to see the joy that's set before. You got to think, Job seen the joy. You know, Job had it in his mind, like, man, you know what, the Lord gonna bless me. You know, even though he was catching hell, he was complaining. You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't complaining in a negative sense. You know what I'm saying? But he was questioning, like, Lord, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to think. He was like, damn, why? You know what I'm saying? But at the end, he got blessed. Yeah. You know, you got to drop.
It was that some of his friends didn't understand that. You know, they wasn't righteous men. Some of them wasn't even, you know what I'm saying, of the nation of, you know, the nation of Israel. They was like, you did something.
Yeah, you had to do something.
Yeah, you had to do something. You know, and like I said, the Lord don't mind you asking questions sometimes. He started questioning at one point, like, Lord, what did I do? You know, you show me. But like you say, then the Lord, you know, when we read the story, the Lord goes in and shows them different things. You know, he didn't just give them a definitive answer, but he just basically gave them some comfort.
Yeah, like look, like if you see the stars in the heaven and the different constellations and how the snow falls, like you can't understand why and how this stuff happens.
It's kind of like when your kids asking you questions, you're like, well, why? And you be like, because I said so. You don't sit there and explain it all to them, but it's for their own good at the end of the day. You know? So,
Right.
Yeah, that makes me think about what Yahushua said in Matthew the 5th chapter. He says, for the rain, falleth upon the just and the unjust. You know, it lines up with 2nd Ezra 7th chapter, and it says how the wicked and the righteous shall suffer great things. But the difference is that the righteous has hope for the wise. So we all going to go through it, and we all do go through it. But at the end of the day, the dividing factor is that the elect has that hope for the wise.
Right. That's right. 2nd Ezra 7.
Job chapter 1, verse 12, it says, And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that he hath is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. And there was a day, when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house, and there came a messenger unto Job and said, The oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabians fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
Yep. So now he's going through these events, like you said, the young rich man, like you said, we told Yahushua. I think we just mentioned that earlier. And what did he say? If you want to follow me, give up all your riches, give up all these things, and walk with me. And he said, "No, I don't want to do that."
He walked away sorrowful.
Yeah, he walked away sorrowful.
Say everything.
And like you said, Job, he would have gave up his thing because he was an upright, righteous man. He was a man with integrity, all right, with moral principles. But now the Lord said, "Hey, told Satan, go do what you will, but what? Don't put your hands on Job. Don't kill him. Basically, don't put your hands on him at this point." In the first chapter, we don't get into the second chapter. He said, you put your hands on him, but don't kill him.
Verse 16, it says, While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, The fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up thy sheep and thy servants, and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
Hey, so that was what? Burned about 7,000 sheep. He done burned up, like you said, so basically you just seeing all his city just being destroyed. All this substance he having, what I'm saying? And like you said, he had all these people that was serving him, because he can't walk around and watch all these, all this stuff. And the Sabians came in.
That hurt them too, that whole, like I said earlier, obviously he was a part of that economy. He was a big piece of that economy. So all those families that worked for Job, they was hurting too. They was like, damn, they ain't got no job.
Yeah, so they wasn't happy. Like you said, they probably like, damn, Job.
What did Job do?
Yeah, what did he do? That's why, like I said, his friend came in. What did you do, man? Because they probably had, some substance because of Job.
They were tied in with him.
Yeah, and now they like, damn, we broke ourselves. We losing shit, Job. Man. Murmuring, yeah. That's why they came in together. They was probably murmuring and talking to each other and walked in. When Job, when you get into chapter 2, like, damn, what did you do, Job? And they probably already talked about it. He may have did this, he may have did that, you know. Speculation. Yeah.
The precept, Job 42:7, and it reads, and it was so that after the Lord had spoke these words unto Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, My wrath is kindled against thee, and against thee thy two friends, for ye have not spoken of me the things that is right, as my servant Job has. Now Job was speaking upright. Job was a devout man, speaking upright, towards the Lord. But these men, like your brothers are going into, they didn't understand. They didn't understand what was happening at the time, But Job held true and fast to his faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and took that, and girded up his loins like the Lord told him to. Right?
That's right.
And verse 8, it says, Therefore, take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him I will accept, lest I deal with you after your folly. See, they were in their folly at the time, you know.
But what he said to him, I will accept. You know, because
Yeah.
he was being what? Upright.
That's right. Reminds me of Cain and Abel. You know, the Most High God accepted Abel's offering, but you know he didn't accept Cain's, right?
Yeah.
And it reads, "Lest I deal with you after your folly, in that ye have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job." Goes to show you that the servants, you know, the Most High God surely do nothing but deals with his servants, the prophets, you know.
Right.
And the Most High God was dealing with Job, not the Eliphaz and his friends and whoever else was around. The Most High God, the scripture says, Job was the most mightiest man in the East. Something roughly paraphrasing, you know.
Yeah.
So Job was that uplifted man, like your brothers were going into. Job was talked to the rich man, and what did they do? They listened. They opened up their ears and stuff, you know.
That's right.
The poor, the women, you know, they opened up their ears because they knew. See, back then, you know, that this message right here that we're pushing, you know, was a little bit more closer to the ear and to the ground. But right now, you know, it's way far because the world has gotten worse.
Yeah.
It hasn't gotten better. It's gotten worse. So the word has gotten pushed away from us, you know, and the people. See, the people had some kind of sense of, you know, fear of the Lord, you know. But right now, I mean, all people, you know, all nations had some kind of fear, you know. But right now, they have no fear because the Lord hasn't raised up He hasn't raised up, you know. That's it.
And with us, with his men, like you said, we're out here for what? Because we have fear of the Lord. That's why we're in here now. That's why we've been listening to apostles and elders and everything. Because we heard the word and we basically, you know, that fear came upon us. So we said, let's go ahead and what? Try to find and walk the righteous path. You know, put off the old man, sin less. You know. Now, like you say, we're gonna get into these times like Job. Like I said, what's going through at this time? Job's losing his substance. He's gonna get his integrity tested. Mm-hmm. All right. He's gonna see if he's gonna crack from the moral principle. Anybody have something? Now we can jump.
It's 1 Kings chapter 9 and verse 4. It says, and because King David, he was also known, you know, to have that integrity as well. It says, and if thou will walk, and this is the Lord speaking to Solomon, and if thou will walk before me as David thy father walked in integrity of heart and in uprightness, to do according to all that I have commanded thee, and will keep my statutes and my judgments, then will I establish the throne of thy kingdom upon Israel forever, as I promised to David thy father, saying, there shall not fail thee a man upon the throne of Israel. And you know, also when you go into that word integrity, you know, we already went into it, you know, how it goes into complete and whole, but it also goes into simplicity. You know, it makes me think about Wisdom Solomon 1:1. You know, love righteousness, you that be judges of the earth, and simplicity of heart, seek him. You know, so with scripture speaking about Job, you know, being a man of integrity, that means that he sought the Lord with singleness of mind, you know, with simplicity, you know.
That's right.
Job chapter 1 verse 17, it says, while he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house, and behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee.
All right, so Job, like you said, his integrity is being tested. Like you said, he's a devout man. He was a righteous man. But now, he's, like I said, we read earlier, he knew his kids were spoiled. Basically, they wasn't shit. But the thing is, he basically tried to cover him by what? Praying, doing sacrifices for him. He eschewed evil, so he shunned from them having their day, basically like their birthdays and their celebrations. But he prayed for him. Now he's saying, man, I did all this, and now the Lord done took my children away. We don't know the time span of when all this happened, but still, this is a lot to lose for someone that was a wealthy man, and you know, the most wealthiest man, mostly of all the East, you know.
Verse 20, It says, Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped and said, Naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither.
Yeah. Now, can we get James 5, 10? Because with all this happening, he didn't just break down and just say, I'm through. He was like, hey, Lord, naked I came out, naked, so I'm basically, you have brought me back to being fresh, bro, with no substance, no cattle, because all these things were taken away from him, no children. So he said, hey, the Lord looked like I'm going to be perishing next, so, naked I came out the womb, naked I'm going back. So the Lord is basically reverting me back to being from the beginning, a restart. So
Of that verse he just said, naked he came out the womb, and it's a saying in the world like, I came in the world with nothing, so I'm gonna leave out the world with nothing. But the scriptures actually like rephrase it, in scriptural format. This is Philippians 4, and I'm gonna start at verse 12. It says, I know how to be abased, and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. So we know how to, not have nothing, because we came in this world without nothing. But the scriptures, roughly paraphrase it again, it says like, I know how to be abased, like low, at a lower state, because the Lord going to provide,
Yeah.
That's what you gotta have the faith in.
And saying that our conduct doesn't change whether we're being upheld, whether we're in a good space or in a low space. Our conduct should remain the same towards the Lord. We should be walking upright regardless of outside circumstances. But it's not really outside because the Lord puts the strings, but regardless of what state you're in, you're walking upright. Yeah.
That's Ecclesiastes 7 and
13. I asked somebody to bring that out. Ecclesiastes 17 and 14 and 15.
Yeah, Timothy says, it's certain we brought nothing in, we can carry nothing out. 1 Timothy 6.
Godliness with contentment is great gain.
Exactly.
That's right.
Going back into that simplicity that he referenced, you read Wisdom of Solomon in the 1st chapter.
Yep.
Food and raiment, let us therefore be content,
That's right. You get James 5 and 10. Also, the elder just mentioned Sirach 7 and 14 verse. And also someone could hold Sirach 2 around the 4th verse.
I got that, James, for you. This is the book of James, chapter 5, verse 10. It says, Take my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience.
Yeah, because like I said, the prophets, they went through things, But the thing is, you learn by, we mentioned earlier, by what? Your experiences. So we take heed to what the prophets, our forefathers have mentioned and said, like you say, suffering through certain afflictions, Even when you have, like say, Job, certain ailments. Did he curse the Lord? No. He had faith. He believed. Now, he had questions, but the thing is, did he basically turn away from the Lord? No. Because he had faith the Lord would deliver,
Yeah, just laying back on what you're saying, it's like Jake in the world. The main thing as to why Jake could be going through, not necessarily why they're going through what they're going through, but the main question that Jake has is why. You know what I'm saying? So when you tell them why, and when you get that understanding, like the scripture says in Psalm 73, it says, when I came into the sanctuary of the Most High, then I understood I therein. When you come into the truth, when Yahweh Shem Shai brings you into the truth, I'd rather say, you understand the why. So like you're not wicked in asking the Lord why. It's not like the Lord, like it's like James the 1st chapter says, if a man asks for wisdom, the Lord ain't gonna upgrade you for asking for understanding and wisdom.
Right.
He'll tell you why. Now it may be bitter, like the scripture says, when you eat the roll, it's bitter to you. Yeah. but shit, you know what I'm saying? Like you ask the Lord, like, well damn, like, why are we going, why as a people are we going through this? Why do we go through captivity? Why are we in this position? The Lord is gonna tell you. You see? And then when it's up to the Lord ultimately to open your mind to receive the why. Most Jake, they can't receive the why behind it. And they try to go into some other kind of, BS or philosophy to try to pretty much circumvent the truth of the why. Job was asking him why, and the Lord told him, like, damn, God, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit, you know what I mean?
Hey, that's like when you have Jake. They be like, "Why we doing? We go and bring out Deuteronomy 28. Why we suffering and going through this?" And we'll say, because we went off. And they don't want to accept that. It's not enough.
Accountability.
They don't want to accept accountability. It ain't enough.
Receive good and not evil.
I
Did
got
somebody quote that?
Yeah, we read it earlier.
I know you did.
This Isaiah 42:24. Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers? Did not Yahweh, he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law.
Wow.
And so we sin. Like you say, we transgress. We was doing iniquity. That's what constantly sin upon sin. So the Lord is supposed to keep watching us doing these out there and gave us the law, statute, commandment, gave us a standard to say, okay, you're not even like your parents. I told you to do this, and that, but yet you going totally different than what I told you to do. I'm supposed to just let it ride and you constantly disobey me?
You gotta whoop his ass. Send prophets to warn you.
Send prophets.
The hand is constantly extended.
Mhm.
What's it? Zechariah, I can't think of what chapter and verse, but it talk about snatching the shoulder away. You know what I'm saying? And you see it constantly.
Mm-hmm. So eventually you gotta what? You spread a rod, spoil the child. So basically we were just some spoiled brats running around, constantly doing what we want to do.
Headstrong.
Headstrong.
Job got chastened walking with the Lord, and he still kept his integrity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a high level of integrity.
Yeah.
Because he could have tried to justify himself, like I've been doing this, that, and the third, but he just dealt with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Because you keep doubting, you start doubting more. You know what I'm saying? You may become what? Double-minded.
Damned.
Yeah.
Then you're condemned.
Mm-hmm. Damn. So like you say, and it's basically like it's not a lot to go on. Like I say, it's not a broad walk. That's why I say it's a narrow walk. You know, 2 Nature 7. You know, that's why I say the fire's on one side and the water's on the other side. It's not something that if you stumble, you just keep stumbling. You're just gonna keep falling left, falling right. You're gonna hit some of that fire. That's basically you need to jump back in, follow straight and narrow. All right, be vigilant. You know, focus on directly on that prize. You know, Yahweh Shai. You mentioned last night at camp. Yahweh Shai is at the end. You know, he's showing you that kingdom. You know, that's why he came in. He constantly preached about the kingdom. Yeah. We're supposed to be kingdom minded. Now we don't supposed to veer off and say, I'll come back and focus on the kingdom later. No. That's it.
Mm-hmm. We have to basically walk that narrow path. We basically have to have Job's walk here in America.
Yeah.
We're walking that narrow path to where we're trying to think ancient and think like Eastern and ancient men, but we're in the West.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of temptations, it's weary, or you get tired, and you're frustrated, but that's a part of the narrow path. Yahweh Shai warned you. So
yeah. But he's still dealing with it, so we're supposed to count it all joy. In fact,
but we can't blame the truth. A lot of people who fall out, what they do is they blame the truth. They blame the brotherhood. Well, everything that you went through was promised to you. I told you was gonna catch hell.
Mm-hmm. You should.
How you gonna blame the truth? It's a straight gate for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Said offenses must go.
Yeah.
And plus, if you've been called to the king's table, we're at the king's table right now.
That's it.
Yeah. Go through it.
He went through it. How the hell?
We're at the king's table, bro.
Service not above the Lord.
Like we receive things on high, not here on the earth. This is very heavy, man.
There was one more verse?
Yeah.
I'm gonna read verse 10 again. James 5:10, it says, "Take my brethren, the prophets who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience." It says, verse 11, "Behold, we count them happy which endure. Ye have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy."
Yeah. So, like I said, right now we listen to Yahweh Shai is on the mercy seat. All right, he giving us a grace period to basically make it, turn our ways into what? Putting off that old man and continuing on that righteous path. Becoming upright. It's a Yashar. Because and you got to think, Job's in the land of a lot of heathens. Mm-hmm. Where are we in the land of? Mystery daughter of Babylon. We in the
like
land
Abraham.
Yeah, Abraham. That's what I mentioned earlier. We are in that. They led by example, and now we follow the ways of our forefathers,
The ancient.
Mm-hmm.
This is the book of Luke 22 and 28. Ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations. And I appoint unto you a kingdom as my Father hath appointed me. So we talk about the kingdom and about how we want to rule, but as it says in the book of Wisdom of Solomon, you have to desire wisdom first.
That's right.
And we've received the wisdom in a place where wisdom is rejected. So that makes it that much more of a narrow walk. But you have to continue with Yahweh Shah even in temptation, not just the good part, the fringes, the knowing you an Israelite, and everybody wake, but you got to continue with him all the way to the death. And that's the fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's the condition of the battle.
Yeah, that'll be a test. You see, like you say, someone bringing forth something like you could, you may have to perish. Somebody may have to want to put you to death. That's gonna be what? Are you tempted to give away, all this that the Lord has gave us? Because like I said, what we're doing, we're restoring our treasures up in heaven. If you're gonna basically shun the treasure that you've been storing up all these years, you know what I'm saying? 5, 10, 15, 20 years, or 30 years. No, you're gonna basically, I'm gonna follow it all the way to the end. That narrow path. We get Sirach 2.
Gotcha. This the book of Sirach, chapter 2, and verse 4. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state.
Yeah, so whoever fall upon you, you know what I'm saying? That, like Job said and told his wife, Job 2 and 10, in 11. How are we going to receive good and not any evil? No, we're going to, if some fall upon you, you receive some adversity, hey, take that full of joy. Hey, the Lord is dealing with me. He's going to see if I'm going to pass this test.
I got one more quick one. This Sirach chapter 1, verse 28. Distrust not in the fear of the Lord when thou art poor, and come not unto him with a double heart. Going into what you were just speaking on, us being optimistic when we get put through these trials and tribulations.
Right.
Knowing that the Lord can have hope and deliver us out of it. And if he doesn't, if it is his will to have you put to death, be a martyr, then guess what? He's going to raise you back up. You have it, you understand it, what you're talking about.
That's right.
Yep. But you wanted some more?
No, I was actually going to mention just to read down to verse 7.
Oh, yeah.
You already got it.
It's the 5th verse. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
Mm-hmm. Gold is tried in the fire, So basically, when you try in the fire, what you say, you putting up all that, you getting away all that dross. Now you're gonna be a part of the dross, so you're gonna be purified. You know what I'm saying? Becoming a new man. All right. That's why you can't be double-minded in this thing. Because if you're double-minded, you're gonna end up falling more and more into the world. Next thing you know, you're gonna be right there with the 2/3.
This is Psalm 39. I'm gonna read verse 1 to 3. And this particular psalm is a prayer for self-understanding, right? He says, I said, I will take heed to my ways, that I sin not with my tongue. I will keep my mouth with the bridle while the wicked is before me. I was dumb with silence. I held my peace, even from good, and my sorrow was stirred. My heart was hot within me, meaning his mind. King David, you go through things and you're pissed off or you're mad, right? So it said, my heart was hot within me. While I was musing, the fire burned. So when you was thinking about it, you're going through something and you thinking about it, you just get more pissed off about it, right? Then spake I with my tongue, Lord, make me to know mine end in the measure of my days, what it is, that I may know how frail I am. So even when King David was going through particular things, when I read this the other day, I was like, man, when we go through particular things in our mind, we can be pissed off, we can be mad, we can be hot in our minds about it. But then you really just think about it and understand how how frail and weak we are.
Right.
Who are we to be, who are we at the end of the day?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a prayer for self-understanding and the fact that when you go through particular things, understand the fact that, look, we're nothing. We're really nothing in the eyes of the Lord. Right. You know what I'm saying? So who are we to really be bent out of shape about particular things that we could be going through? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's why it says a prayer of self-understanding.
Mm-hmm. And it said at the beginning, basically he cautious. He don't just spew out anything when he's going through it, because you may end up blaspheming the Lord. You got to watch what you say. when you're going through these certain adversities, you know?
I got a precept. This is Sirach 18 and verse 19 in the GNT. It says, know what you are talking about before you speak, and give attention to your health before you get sick. Examine your conscience before the Lord judges you. Then when that time comes, he will forgive you. Humble yourself before you are punished with sickness. When you have sinned, show repentance. Just going on what you were saying, like we all sick, you know, we've all sinned. So whatever the Lord puts on us is for, you know, for a reason, right? Whether we know it or not. But you know, faith, we believe that, you know, we're making up for that through this time now. You know, we're doing these works and walking through that straight gate.
That's right.
Hey, Malak, can you read verse 20?
Con.
So he was in the same chapter.
Okay, yeah, I had to pull it up in the notes. This is verse 20. Alright, yeah, verse 20. Examine your conscience before the Lord judges you. Then when that time comes, he will forgive you. You wanted 21? I just read.
Verse 20?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was the point. It says before, you know, when you read it in the KJV version of the Parker, it says before judgment, examine yourself. You know, and show, you know, and you know, before judgment, we have to examine what we're doing, what we're saying, everything that we're doing. We got to examine ourselves. You know, before we just start spewing out the mouth, before we just start just talking.
Right.
You know, we got to really examine ourselves, and that's and since we're in the book of Job, that's what Job did. You know, Job's wife like, man, curse the Most High and die. You know what I'm saying? And all, you know, Job could have easily been, man, Lord, I ain't do anything, man. I'm innocent. I ain't do nothing. You know, start just talking shit. But what he did, he examined himself. He was like, you know what, shit, maybe I did do something wrong. You know, but hey, regardless of whatever we go through, man, I'm not gonna blaspheme the Lord. Right. You know, whatever I'm going through for a reason. You know, and you just, to the best of our ability, through the help of the brotherhood, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shah, you take it on the chin.
That's right. And then when you examine yourself, you might be surprised at the answer.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe the Lord decided to work a miracle through you. Maybe you didn't do nothing. Right? Yahweh Shah died for your sins. How many times you gonna beat yourself up about that? Exactly. Maybe he's rebuilding you. You know? So when you take the time to examine yourself, you'll see what it actually is. Because when you ask the Lord questions, he answers them. It might not be right when you want it, but you get your answer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
if you in the spirit, you'll get the answer.
Come.
If you in the flesh, you'll justify yourself and you'll run from the answer. But a lot of times the answer be correction. The Lord is correcting you. But sometimes we don't want to hear that because we in the flesh, we in this earthly walk. But a lot of times we're being judged by the Lord. And we know why, but we run from why because we just want to be justified in being mad or whatever. Right?
Job considered he probably did something in a past life. That's why he said, whoever perished being innocent. You know, because we know the scripture says he was upright. So you know he had to know reincarnation exists. He had to consider that as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Can I back the Shwamba up? It's Sirach 32 and 17. It says, a sinful man will not be reproved, but findeth an excuse according to his own will. According to his will, Salakia. So that goes right into what Elder Shwamba was saying, man. A dude that's not in the spirit, he just want to be justified, so he'll make an excuse for himself.
That's right. So when you get tried in that, you finish on that. When you get tried in that fire, you know, that goes into what manner of man you ought to be. You know, are you going to be someone that's going to basically be refined and become, you know, like you said, that pure gold, or are you going to be pulled away and faded and thrown away like the dross? That's being, like you say, a test.
I'll continue on. This is Sirach chapter 2 and verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside lest ye fall.
Yeah, ain't that what Job was doing?
Hey, the apostle made a good point. He said Job didn't get emotional. I just want to add that.
That's right.
You know, he didn't let emotion dictate, you know, his decision making.
Right.
When he was in that adverse circumstance, you know. Right. Yahweh Shai too is, of course, that's our greatest example today. He really could have been so-called justified before the Father, but he knew the cup that he had to drink. You know.
And that shows you all our forefathers, like say, including Job, and they wasn't bitch made, you know. They didn't live off emotion. They didn't live off emotion.
I got a
You know.
scripture to give you, brothers. Matthew 13 and 16. Somebody can get it immediately. Y'all brothers can break it down. It's a lot of Matthew 13.
I got it. This is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 13, verse 16. It says, but blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear.
Hey, blessed are your eyes that see and your ears that hear. All right. So the things that we see and the things we hear, what are we gonna do? You know, if you are pushing the word and you starting to see these things, and you see, we look and see what's going on with the world. Do we want to dwell and be within the world, knowing through prophecy what we heard what's gonna happen? No, that's why we're all in here, you know what I'm saying, pushing the word. We're actually studying, showing ourselves approved. You know, we're getting ourselves spiritually prepped for what's to come. You know, and when you go through certain things, you basically refrain from everything you've heard or seen. No, we know our forefathers. We know what's going on. So we go through these certain elements. Like when you going through the elements, that you bitch up about it? No. You've heard the word and heard the adversities that our the prophets, you know, before us and everything it went through. You know, our apostles have went through. You know, we've heard the story. Those are building blocks for us. Mm-hmm. So why would we bitch up now, especially the times we're in?
There's a lot more meat in that same chapter. There's a lot more in that same Matthew. Well, who's reading that?
Kinda, I am.
Well, continue and let the brothers break it down, but read on.
Kinda. This is verse 17 in Matthew 13. Verse 17, it says,
yeah, you gotta keep reading, man. Gotta get all them gems and stuff in there, you know.
Matthew 13, verse 17, it says, for verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them.
Hey, because you got to think, you know, that me it made me think of Daniel. Daniel prophesied, and Daniel basically had to interpret dreams. But did Daniel see, like you say, the fourth beast? He didn't even see the Greek or the Romans, you know. But yet he basically interpreted and prophesied about it. You know, now we're being, like you say, men of the Lord, being prophets, you know, among the body. We're starting to see the things come, you know.
We're starting to see end time prophecy.
Yes.
So it's like, dude, this fourth quarter. Why would you fold? We're about to get what we've been working for. There's no reason. It's like you gonna give up at the end, you gonna quit at the end. That's a bitch ass nigga. Yeah. You know, going to what you were saying. Somebody that quits at the end of something.
And the prophets, like I said, they didn't see certain things, and did they say, you know what, I don't think this is happening now, so let me go back and somewhere about how
somebody get that scripture in Matthew's. Hold off on that one for a minute and go to the other scripture. But he didn't go up to the end of verse 6 shall be saved. Get that one. Read it. Just read that. It's self-explanatory. Don't take too much breaking down.
And when you read Matthew 10, get in the habit of understanding that Yahweh Shai is talking to his disciples. He's talking to, if you wanted the men of the Lord, if you believe you are, he's talking to you in that chapter for your mission. But he was talking to the 12 at that time because they had to go through the regions of Jerusalem and preach the word. He was like, you will catch hell.
Right.
You know, but we can liken all of these things, when you read it from top to bottom, liken it to your walk.
Yeah, it's going into that division, how basically you're going to, you know, be prosperity by going into family.
13. Just real quick. That's self-explanatory, bro.
God, I guess. No, go ahead.
This Matthew 24.
13 after that.
This Matthew 24 and 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
Like I said, that is self-explanatory. He that endure to the end. He'll walk that righteous path to the end and don't waver, okay? Don't become back being double-minded, you know? Keeping that balance. The same shall be saved, you know?
Here means to make hard. We gotta prove our worthiness. As gold is tried, that's how you prove the worthiness of that precious metal gold.
Right.
Through that fire.
And that's a mindset of the men of the Lord.
Right.
The scriptures say clearly they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. So that's going to be the real test. If you really love your life, you're going to try to save it. But if you really don't love your life unto death, you ultimately gonna follow Yahweh Shah to the very end. That's right. You know.
That's why the Bible say, "Come boldly to the throne."
That's right.
Again, I keep saying you get called to the king's table. If you're a king, you got men at your table. You want to test them. You want to see what they're about. You know, ain't nobody weak on it. Can't be no weak link.
Anybody a friend, it says prove a friend.
Exactly.
Anything that
called
you,
to the king's table.
you know,
None of respect.
Hey, that's why it's important that we walk like we've seen the resurrection. Those men that saw that resurrection, when they seen it, it's a reason why they strive till the death. Because they seen the resurrection. Those are key examples in our faith. Walk like you've seen the resurrection. If you've seen the resurrection, ain't nothing going to sway you or turn you to the side, no matter what you're going through. Because you literally seen the Son of Man rise from the dead.
That's right.
Great examples we had before us.
And Scripture says he showed himself openly. So there's particular men on the planet Earth right now that actually are walking the planet Earth in the flesh right now that actually seen Yahweh Shai, gave him a cup of water, talked to him, that seen him after he did resurrect. You know, and Yahweh Shai said himself at the very end of Matthew 28, he said, "Lo, I'm with you to the end of the world."
Acts, in the first book of Acts, it says that as well. In Acts, the first chapter.
Yep.
And lo, I'm with you always, even unto the very end. And Yahweh Shah said, well, go teach. You know, just go, right? We're supposed to be in go mode, man.
That's right.
With that, we're gonna read Matthew 10. You know, also with that going into basically that division and separation, remind you of Sirach 2, where it says, "Depart from the unjust, you know, and the iniquity shall turn away from thee." And verse 3 it says, "Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end." So we supposed to basically, yeah.
That's the story of Job. Israel, you know.
Yeah. Job received double after, you know, going through those adversity. You know what I'm saying? And he still cleaves unto the Lord, even the time what he went through. You know, he kept his integrity.
That's right. You say you want Matthew 10 and 22? Or,
that was pretty much Matthew 24 that was read.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
That was it. You know, it makes me think like, you know, through the Spirit, like when I went through my issue last weekend, the guy, it's crazy because Ishkari, he was like, man, you're so calm about everything that just happened. And one thing I told him, I literally told him to his face, I was like, hey bro, I was ready for it to happen. You know what I'm saying? He was like, you're not even mad about it? I was like, I mean, me being mad about it ain't gonna just magically fix the issue. It is what it is. Like, you know,
yeah, nah, man, that's heavy. And you being a younger brother, that's heavy, man. The Lord, that shows us that the Lord is increasing you brothers fast. Like things are happening fast now, bro. For the past 10 years, for the past 15 years, I dare say, like the Lord is, you know, the Most High is like His works are unknown, man. Like, what's the scripture? My thoughts are not your thoughts. Somebody read that. Somebody read that, man.
This is Isaiah, the 55th chapter, and I believe the 7th. I start at verse 6. Isaiah 55 and 6, all right? It reads, "Seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near."
I see now, there's a lot of people that's not doing that, and there are people that's doing it. Yahweh Shah said what? You shall know them by their fruits. That's the scripture that never leaves my head. I know who the men of the Lord are because I follow the Bible, and I know that the Bible told me what signs to look for, bro.
That's right.
Simple and plain, that's it. It ain't no whole big long speech. Okay, and that goes into what you're teaching, how you carry yourself, everything. Now, yes, the men of the Lord, we go off, or we will go off, and the men of the Lord make mistakes. That's what Yahweh Shai is there for. Okay, but overall, yo, the men of the Lord are going to be doing this work. And then also, as far as their behavior with other men of the Lord, like, you know, what did Yahweh Shai say as well? By this the world shall know that ye are my disciples for the love that you have for one another, right? Yahweh Shai said that. So, with that being said, anyways, to go back to the scripture, right? You shall know them by their fruits. the men of the Lord are gonna be pushing the word, bro. Pushing the word in, dealing right with the brothers around them. You know, shit, hey, dealing right with your woman now. Yeah, we curse out the women and all this blase, right? We talk shit about the women, but there is a righteous way to deal with a woman and a wicked way, like, you know, all that,
Right.
everything. Your children, you know, but we don't ever promote for brothers to go just take your woman and put her on the streets. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah, fuck that. We could pimp the black woman. Nah, man, you can't be doing it, you know?
Right.
That's wicked. Right? Or whatever. Or even just beating the shit out of your woman for no reason. Because you angry at the black woman. So you just, like, let's say your old lady being cool and you was coming up, fuck you, black bitch. I ain't doing that. I don't care if you a black bitch. You know what I mean? Can't be doing that shit, man.
Yahweh Shah didn't give us the go-ahead to act like that.
Right.
Like there's an order, you know.
Yeah, man, you can't be doing that. And I'm confident brothers gonna be doing that, but then again, that's why we gotta push this out in the videos, cause you got some we got some bugged out, simple-minded dudes out there that, you know, they might see, okay, like, you gotta learn how to spiritually extrapolate.
That's right.
The understanding of this truth. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
For real. Even in the truth, you brothers got to learn to fucking extrapolate everything. Everything, bro. Even in the truth. Like, you understand what I'm saying? You gotta pray to the Lord to give you discernment on everything. Sometimes there's gonna be points where you're gonna have beef with brothers, and you might certain things you might see your elders do that might, man, and I'm telling you this from experience, man. And it's, you know, like Apostle Gabar did a video. Hey, man, you know, I watch Apostle Gabar, Apostle Ryan's videos all the time. Apostle Gabar, of course. You brothers, make sure y'all watch Apostle Gabar's videos, man. Watch Apostle Gabar, the apostles. Watch them videos, man. Watch the videos of the apostles, man. And of course, without saying, watch Apostle Gabar. Yeah, you goddamn right. I'm gonna promote that. I'm gonna push that. And you know what? Me and the elder Yasha Wamba was there. And I'm not just saying it because I'm a part of that hierarchy. It's the fucking truth. You understand?
Okay.
Because, you know, a nigga will say, yeah, cuss, yeah, Rakai. You gonna say that, nigga, because you were part of the leadership. So what? I'm out here with y'all. You understand?
Right.
Real talk, bro. Fuck it, man. I like real talk. Yeah, look at me. Like, I'm not a part of the leadership no more. Okay? I'm out here with y'all. I'm in the field. I'm a grunt. Like, you know? I'm with y'all brothers, man. That's my life right now at the moment. You know? So I'm not even talking from the aspect of being a part of the leadership. Right. I'm talking just like one of y'all, man. Okay? I'm talking like a regular brother. Watch them videos, man. The Apostle Gabar said it, man. Nothing beats experience. Okay? It's the truth. You can learn all the scriptures you want to learn, bro. It's true. And bro, y'all see the examples. You can learn 1,000,000 scriptures. We had a word for that back in the days. Human concordance, brothers. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. That's groovy to know the scriptures. Bro, when I was a younger man, okay, I was the same way. You know? Everything you younger brothers going through, I've been through that. I talked to the brothers in my camp. That's why I love you brothers, man. I look at y'all, it's a throwback to my, yeah, I remember what it's like. I remember what that was like. It's cool. It's fond memories. You know what I mean? It's fond memories. Like, I see these little young dudes coming in the truth, and the spirit they have. Like, damn, man, that was me 32 years ago. Wow, that was me, man. I know what these brothers are feeling. I know, man, that excitement, that vigor. You know what I mean? But then, like the scriptures never, Daniel, right? It was honey in my mouth.
Yeah.
Bitter. Bitter in the stomach. When you first come in the truth, it's all groovy, man. It's all groovy. It's biscuits and gravy.
Right. But you Apostle, you establish your relationship with Yahweh Bashim Yahushua through trial, through walking with him, sticking with him. That's a relationship. You know, on this side, yeah, a relationship like
you got your one body.
yeah.
You're right because
Yeah.
see, because when you first come in the truth, it's like I barrel.
Right.
That shit is so good.
Gift. The beginning of a relationship is always
The
fun.
honeymoon phase at the beginning.
Oh yeah, when you first get with a new chick.
Right, right. It's fun.
Oh my goodness, the pussy is so good. You want to pop her all the time.
That's why you can't really measure.
You looking at stuff. Oh, will she like this?
But then, hey, you got your one about. Like you said, when you get with a new chick, you every night you're like, oh,
Trying to feed your man.
you're like, damn, but you're not shot one out. Like every night you want to go over there and be over there. You don't want to hang with the brothers, kind of like before you the brother that always hung with the brothers. We gonna play who? Shot one out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right? It's all groovy, but then a couple of months into that motherfucker, you hang with the brothers. Yo, what's up? You ain't with it? I'm whatever, but you know, brother, these women, man. Right? When you get into it, it's like that with the truth too.
Yes, a relationship.
Oh, it's true. Well, really, we're the woman.
Right.
But then, the scriptures, we're the woman of Yahushua, but in the scriptures, in the Solomon, this truth is like a woman.
That's right.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Sophia.
Yes. Y'all go ahead, brother. I'm sorry, I just want to throw that little in there.
You want me to finish this Isaiah 55?
Yes, why not?
This Isaiah 55:7. It says, "Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto the Lord, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our power, for he will abundantly pardon."
Break it down, man.
Yeah, man.
Don't look at me.
Yeah, I'll break it down. Yeah, man. So when you come into this truth, you empty your cup. They got the karate movies. They say you must empty your cup, and you fill it up with righteous thoughts. You make your movements and your judgment calls based off what the scriptures say. So that's the becoming a new creature. You know what I mean? So yeah, you gotta put off that old nigga. I remember Elder Yatzizak said when y'all first came in, y'all see, you gotta put that little nigga every time y'all call. You gotta put that little nigga away, man. And you gotta step into, that new man that the Lord is calling you to be.
That's right. I like that. Yeah, that's true.
Leave that nigga at the door.
Man, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Did you have anything else you wanted?
Well, that was about it because I think we was at the end of it, about chapter 1. Yeah. And like I said, when you come into this wasn't our understanding, you become a man with integrity, and basically you deal with, good things you receive as well as the bad, just as Job did, so that all I have.
You got to learn how to, everything that happens to you in this truth, you just got to tie it to somehow to the scriptures. Yep. Whether it's good or bad, tie it to the scriptures. That's the only way you're going to get through.
That's the comfort.
Not being emotional about things that happen, not, being able to thrive in uncomforts. You got to be like water in this truth. This truth will present you with all kind of situations that you're going to have to still operate in the spirit, though it's like you in a fight.
Right.
You in the 12th round, your opponent, this is Satan doing push-ups. Man. Satan ain't tired.
Rounds.
So you got to learn how to fight tired. You got to learn how to adjust. You got to learn how to not get hit with the same punch you got hit with early in the fight.
You got to fight back.
You got to fight back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You other cats, y'all know who I'm talking about. The brothers, I forget you brothers' names. I know y'all still here. Where did we go this morning?
We went to the trail.
Which trail?
The hard trail.
Brothers, my trail brothers, raise your hand. They in there still?
Yeah, we up in here.
Okay, yeah, brother, we went to that motherfucker this morning.
Yeah.
Hey, I told the elder when I got back, I said, well, we going to the hard trail. Man.
Yeah, we went.
We're going to double up.
Yeah, because we going tomorrow too, Lord willing.
Monster, yeah. If he in the elder Yashimon by ourselves, we went there this morning. And then we going to Ratazai, we come tomorrow with y'all. But that trail, for you brothers that know it, that motherfucker, now, last week I was in Atlanta doing the Stone Mountain. So I've been hitting it, so that's why I came back. I told one mother, look, man, we got to double up. But we did it, right?
Yeah, we got
the one buddy, he was kind of dusting me today. Yeah, man, that's because I I've been working out. Brother, I've been going hard, nonstop. And I did 6 rounds yesterday, but I've been jogging 4 miles every day. I was on Stone Mountain last week. But Elder Wumba, he busted me. Because, you know, my body was kind of like, whoa, kind of trying to catch up. You know, sometimes, but I said, fuck it, I told him, right? I said, keep going, brother, don't wait for me. But I see him, man. You know, that point, boy, man, it's like 1,000,000 stairs.
It's a trial, yeah, it's a trial. It's like
that's a trial by fire.
But you got to endure to the end to get back to your car.
Yeah. I was a little tired today. But yeah, I was like, go, brother. I seen him at the point, you know, brother, that point with them stairs, just seem like stairs to heaven. Yeah. Long way stop stairs.
Yeah.
The elder guy, Wumba, he's jogging. I said, man, woo, Wumba good today, baby. He was motivated today. I should have seen him, man.
Yeah.
I should have seen him, man.
We're gonna end the video.
That's a trial.
Yeah, it's a trial.
But I was bringing that up to, it's like the truth.
Yeah.
Like the physical things you can articulate to spiritual matters. The Apostle Paul did. That's the only reason I brought that up.
Yeah.
You know, that
It's a fight.
that trail or like that Stone Mountain in Georgia. When you climb that,
Yeah,
shit,
Stone
you're
Mountain.
physical. That it's a conquering over the mind and spirit over the flesh.
Yep.
And that's what it is to walk in this truth.
To walk in His truth.
Done. That's all. That was the point I wanted to articulate.
It's a fight.
Yes.
And you got to learn, because Jacob, he had a thigh out of joint, but he still wrestled for the blessing. So you already have an example of fighting injured. You got to learn how to fight injured. You got to, when you get emotional, you got to learn how to rebuke wicked thoughts. You got to learn how to do all of that to operate amongst the brotherhood. You're going to have to rebuke wicked thoughts. You're going to have to learn how to deal. You're going to have to learn how to put yourself last. All of these things are a part of the temptation, a part of the walk to get to that, to the kingdom.
I just want to throw this last bit in what you said. You got to learn to rebuke emotional thoughts.
Yep.
And that means if you got a problem, that's how you cut Satan.
Yep.
See, that cuts problems amongst us, the brotherhood. All of us. When I say all of us, all the Israelite camps. Well, look, I'm only concerned with GMS, okay? Because that's who I'm over. Okay, I don't give a fuck about what Zabak and IUIC got going on. Fuck them. Okay, let them kill each other. But as far as Great Millstone is concerned, that's my concern. If you got an issue with a brother, you follow the scriptures, man.
That's it.
That's the spirit of a bitch, man.
Right.
If you, whatever it is, and then you instead of confront the brother, whatever it might be. Now, when you confront him and it comes out, because sometimes maybe we just got demons on us. Like I've been listening since I came in here. You brothers going into it. Sometimes brothers is getting their little feelings and get emotional, and then Satan embellishes on it and works on it. He steers that pot. But then when you actually go into it, well, what did that brother really do to you? I said, at the end, it comes down to that black woman demon. I don't know. I just didn't like the way he said that. See? But did the brother say anything wrong?
Right.
And then the scriptures start coming out. What did the brother say?
Right.
Well, I just felt some kind of way because you being a demon, you being an emotional black woman. See, brother, we got to rebuke the spirit of the nigger woman and the spirit of the white man.
Right.
That's the truth. Because, I know, man, look, man, especially some of you younger brothers, y'all come out of that fucked up generation of where a lot of brothers were raised up by the black woman. Single parent homes, and we know they go back to Esau. You dig? So it's a fight.
Yeah.
It's a fight. So that demon will get on brothers to be like that because a lot of brothers were raised up by that spirit of the nigger woman, emotional, rebellious,
Right.
So sometimes a brother might say something or do something, and then the brother, now if a brother really did something wrong and really offended you, you have a case. But if it's just, I don't know, I just don't like the way that brother be some of the things he say. But if the things that the brothers are saying is scriptural,
right?
If anything you say, if it can be backed by the scriptures, then you're not at fault.
Right.
Because you got the scriptures,
right?
Which is the word of Yahweh Shai to back you.
Right.
Now, if a brother says something off,
right,
and to offend the brother, I don't know what that brother be talking. Well, what did he say? Well, I don't know. And then, like, brothers, we're going to drill you. Well, brother, what actually did, according to the scripture, well, I can't get no scripture to prove it, but I just didn't like what he said or the way he said. Then, brother, you got to check yourself.
Right, because sometimes it's just brothers' approach is different than how you would do it. So you get an attitude about it because I wouldn't say it like that. I wouldn't do it like that.
That's the spirit of the world.
That's the spirit of the world. Every brother has their own
flavor,
their way. You know, if he ain't going off in spirit, why nitpick it? That's just not how you would do it. Get over it. Live to see the next day. You ain't got to even bring it up. You can rebuke the thought before it even comes out as an emotion.
Hey, one body. I'm sorry, my brother. Bro, a lot of the times, you brothers got to learn. Sometimes brothers got to learn just to rebuke the. I'm learning back on the Elder Yashua once again at this moment. He said, rebuke the thought in your head when it comes. Y'all got to learn to do that. Sometimes, man, when a demon is, brother, you got to know Satan when he comes. Y'all got to learn how to battle on the spiritual playing field, man. This is not physical. This is spiritual, man. You understand? As y'all get along in this truth, y'all going to see. And sometimes we all going to fall short. We all going to get, no matter how much years, we in this flesh. The Apostle Paul said, what? Oh, man, this flesh was the demon, man. So we all gonna fuck out get crazy sometimes, and well, that's why we need the house tonight.
That's right.
But like as far as other little things amongst the brotherhood or whatever, man, sometimes and it, like, come on, man, you brothers, and a lot of you brothers in this room have been around for a minute, I would say. We have some newer, younger brothers, but a lot of you guys in here, most of you guys in here, I've been around for at least, can I be correct? 7, 8 years, right? At least 5 or 6 years, right? You know what I mean? When demons come after 5 years in the truth, you should know that number Satan, man, is trying to get. Remember, Satan gonna try to turn us against each other, man. Satan is really, hey, the spiritual demon, Satan. How you say when you go to the casino or if you brothers another gamble, a loaded deck. It's a loaded deck. Brother, we playing a loaded deck. So say, a brother say something to yo, man, fuck you. I rebuke you in the name of Yahweh.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
Or maybe a brother didn't do nothing. Sometimes a demon will get on you just to, I don't know. I don't know.
You just want to be mad.
You just want to be mad. I don't like the way that brother dress.
Practice looking hard at it.
Good, right? Good. Why the brothers gotta wear them goddamn sneakers? I don't like them. Why the brothers gotta wear them sport? Maybe he ain't right.
He in the world. He got Jordans.
Yeah, brother. Everybody's wearing Jordans on. Really, your ass we ain't got no Jordans.
Right.
Okay, one Bob. I'm sorry, brother.
Nah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah. Hey, hey, that's the lesson. Hey, Lord willing, this was edifying, and like I say, we got to keep our integrity because we just mentioned like the spiritual demons. He's out to sift us like he did Luke 22 during the time of when Yahushua told Peter. So we still like keep our mind protected, and how do we keep it protected? Stay in the scriptures, you know what I'm saying, and also we have to continue being brotherly. All this comes into what our keeping our integrity, our spiritual moral values, our principles. So with that, Lord willing, you was edifying. I'd like to give all praise, glory, and honor to
Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem HaKadosh.
Double honor to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to Yahakim pushing this word in truth and sincerity. Shalom.
Shalom.
Wow.
Oh.